Yeah, so this is San Antonio in February, the middle of February, the 18th of February. And it's snowing. 4 days of this, people. This is South Texas. Hello, my name is Shaggy, the opinionated and slowly thawing out hippie, ranking and reviewing every single Frank Zappa album released after he passed away in December of '93. I've already done all the ones released before he passed away, elsewhere on this channel if you're interested. And we are currently on number 45, Joe's Menage. There's no à trois, just a menage. This is a series. I don't know which in the series. I think it's the fourth in the series of Joe's releases. Joe's is sort of the Zappa Family Trust archivist. And so he's been releasing some pretty good deep dive albums that are pretty much for the hardcore fan, I would say. A couple of them appeal to the more casual listener, but I think this one is definitely more towards the hardcore fan than it is the casual listener, because what this essentially is a bootleg recording of a Zappa show. Though a Zappa endorsed bootleg recording of a Zappa show. So it was released in 2008, but the show was from November 1, 1975. This was a pretty interesting tour. That's what this is. So it's 45 minutes of a concert. It's probably the middle, like if it was a bootleg tape, I'm pretty sure it's like a 90-minute bootleg. It's the second side. And this was an interesting band. This band would tour all the way through the middle of '76, but would lose one of its members, which is why this is kind of neat, because it's the only release that features Norma Bell on vocals and saxophone. It also has Zappa as the sole guitar player. This band, when it would end in '76, that would be the last time he would be the sole guitar player on a tour. You get Napoleon Murphy Brock, you get Andre Lewis, this 75 and then 76. You have Andre Lewis on keyboard and vocals. Roy Estrada is back on bass and vocals, and this is Terry Bozzio's second outing on drums and vocals. And so it's 45 minutes of a live show, and everything that is on here, except for two songs, my least favorite songs, are available on FZ Oz. And FZ Oz is a better sounding live show. It is essentially the same band, but without Norma, who doesn't contribute much to this tape anyway, so it's not like there's a big disparity in what you're getting. But that's a better way to get this material, which is one of the reasons why it's so far back. It has a very bootleg quality about it. For some reason, the 75, 76 tours have this loud, echoey kind of sound to them, like they're almost like they're recorded in a large empty concert hall and the recorder is standing in the back and you're getting this echo. These tours have a weird sound to them. But there are parts I really like, and there are parts to recommend in this. But because of the sound quality, which sounds more of like a really high-quality bootleg than anything Frank would normally officially release, because of the first two songs, which I do not like and I'm tired of hearing, that ruins, obviously, me wanting to put on this album, because I'm all about listening to the entire album, and because this is available in better versions elsewhere. That's why it's here. But this is what you get on this live show. Oh, and the story behind this. So apparently Frank made a cassette tape, or several cassette tapes of live shows or live sets or portions of live shows that he particularly liked, and he gave them to somebody, I think a Norwegian guy, gave them to some Norwegian dude. And this Norwegian dude, years later after Zappa passed away, mailed them back to Gail, and then Gail gave them to Joe, and they together found the actual reel-to-reel that Frank made the cassette from, and then released this. So it's inspired by a cassette, but it's ultimately from a reel-to-reel, is my understanding of this. But anyways, we got the music. Awesome. So this is what it is. You get Honey, Don't You Want a Man Like Me, which is the earliest official live version we have of this. There is a version of this on Joe's Camouflage, I think is the one, which is the rehearsal tapes from earlier, a band that never toured, but earlier in '75. So after Bongo Fury, there was the Joe's Camouflage band rehearsal tapes, and then that band never made. So then you have this, which is Joe's Menage. You have this band, and so you get the Honey, Don't You Want a Man Like Me, which is I guess the first official live version of this, second official version of this. Then you get the Illinois Enema Bandit, which is the first official live version of the Illinois Enema Bandit, though we also have the first official rehearsed version on Joe's Camouflage. It's a lot I'm throwing at you, and I'm sorry for making it confusing. Connecting the dots in my head right now as I'm saying all these things. The Honey Don't You Want a Man Like Me, the Illinois Enema Bandit's kind of interesting. The solo's kind of interesting. It's very aggressive. Frank is very aggressive in these tours. But again, it's the Illinois Enema Bandit. These early versions, I think, are a lot rougher. They're a little more musical and more bluesy and less theatrical as they would become. You know, Frank turned this song into almost like a theater piece at some point, it seems. This is a little more musically inclined, but it still is the Illinois Enema Bandit, which is a song that, other than the solo, doesn't offer much, I think, on any given outing. Then you get Carolina Hardcore XT, which just sounds kind of rough, but it sounds good, and the guitar solo is excellent. So it's worth checking out for the guitar solo, which is pretty aggressive. You get then the Mother's Medley, which I love. You get A Lonely Little Girl, a Take Your Clothes Off When You Dance, and What's the Ugliest Part of Your Body. Two things. I'm going to mention this in a lot of videos in the next couple weeks. Take Your Clothes Off When You Dance. Whatever song I had as number 10 on my all-time great song list, it's no longer number 10. Take Your Clothes Off When You Dance is now number 10. Because this is popping up on here. It's on, I think it's on the Lost episodes. It was on, it's on another Joe's that I'm going to get to in a couple days. And every time it pops up, I love it. It's one of the better spots of an album. The melody for this song is so phenomenally amazing. That Take Your Clothes Off When You Dance is now my number 10 favorite song. So whatever was number 10 before, it is no longer. It is now 11. This is now number 10. And then What's the Ugliest Part of Your Body has an interesting little train crash at the end of it. When they're supposed to segue into Chungus Revenge, that segue does not come, and Frank notices it and comments on it, and then even sings that it can't happen here before they go right into Chungus Revenge. It's a little botched, but that is one of the reasons why, as a tape collector, you wanted to collect tapes, for these really interesting little moments where things that normally don't happen, or things go wrong, and you want to see how Frank reacted to it. So those of us who are super, super obsessive, this is an example of one of those reasons. Ooh, the botched transition, the botched segue after What's the Ugliest. That was phenomenal. Then you get a Chungus Revenge, about 14 minutes long. It's got a Norma singing solo. I'm assuming it's a Brock sax solo. It's got a Frank Zappa rhythm guitar solo. He goes, now I'm going to play a rhythm guitar solo. And then he does. Yeah, it's interesting. Then a drum solo, and then that goes into Zoot Allures, which is only about 6 minutes long on this. It's the head, as we all know, of Zoot Allures, and then a solo. And during the solo, there is a fade out where apparently the tape fades out, and then they add in the reel-to-reel afterwards to finish out the solo. And then the set ends. So apparently that was the end of the show. Frank was not doing the Ship-Ahoy ending to Zoot Allures yet, which is that wah, 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 where he plays with that sound effect. That was not added until the 76 Winter Tour, which is another reason why you should check out FZ Oz, because that has the full-blown Zoot Allures experience on it. So, anyways, it's not a bad listen. Again, sound quality is a little subpar. The performances are not the best, but it's a nice 45-minute slice of what the 75 Fall Band did on tour. So if you like it, check it out. It's something I do listen to pretty regularly. Not regularly, but it is in my rotation. Pretty much everything on here is in my rotation from this point on. There's nothing that is really all that bad from here on out, which is frustrating because there's, 40 more albums to go, and they're all pretty good. So... you know, this is when we're like picking nits here to determine which one is ahead of the other one. But yeah, so that's it. Let me know if you check it out, what you think of it, all that kind of stuff, and comment, all that stuff. Subscribe, algorithms, blah, blah, blah. Anyways, snow is supposed to melt here today in Texas, so we're happy.